Big Red is pretty well dead for the season. Like, it has taken an ass kicking, and there's definitely no time or manpower to fix it this year.
Gold Rush is about to change forever. Chris Doumitt, a man who has been with the crew through thick and thin since season 4, has reached his breaking point. The stress of running 3 wash plants at once became too much to bear. This is the story of what happens when the unstoppable drive for gold meets an immovable human limit. The cracks begin to show. I think we have to talk about what's really going on with the money and the men behind it. You see, Chris Doumitt just walked away from Gold Rush. And believe me, it's not a simple goodbye. Something truly wild went down in season 15. For years, fans have watched him handle every single disaster, fix every broken down machine, and keep Parker Schnabel's operation running like a perfectly oiled machine.
Just have to stay on top of it. If you get it running too fast, things just jam up too quick. Between Parker and the Hoffmans is day and night. The Hoffmans ran very few hours a day.
He was the calm in the storm. You have to wonder what could possibly push the most reliable man in the whole gold mining game to finally throw in the towel. But this season, the pressure just became too much. Truth be told, Chris finally hit his breaking point. It all started with the gold hunt that nearly broke them all. From the get-go, Parker was gunning for something that sounded completely insane, a goal of 10,000 ounces of gold. That's a number so high it felt totally impossible to everyone. But as you know, Parker doesn't do small goals. To make it happen, he cranked up the pressure to a whole new level. He decided to run 3 massive wash plants, Big Red, Rock Box, and the legendary Slucifer, all at the same time. On paper, it probably sounded like a genius plan. After all, more plants should mean more gold, right? Well, that's not exactly how it worked out.
This part of the bridge cut isn't quite ready to go, but it's partially ready. And at this point in time, we'll accept partially ready.
The logistical nightmare was immediate. The plants were spread out across the claim, meaning Chris had to constantly travel between them, losing precious time he didn't have. Behind the scenes, the crew was getting pushed way past their breaking point, and you better believe no one felt that heat more than Chris Doumitt. Before we dive deep into this mess, one thing is absolutely certain. What happened behind the curtain was far more intense than anyone watching at home ever realized. And this won't be the only thing that will leave you completely stunned. He has always been the guy working in the background, making sure the gold just keeps flowing. But this season, the work went from being hard to being nearly impossible. Imagine the physical toll. It's not just cleaning sluice boxes, it's hours of standing, the constant roar of machinery in your ears, and the biting cold of the water that seeps into your bones. It's the burning ache in your lower back that never goes away, and the feeling of your hands being raw and numb from handling gritty concentrates. Now, multiply that by 3. Cleaning out the sluice boxes for one plant is a tough job. Making sure not a single tiny speck of gold gets lost from 3 different wash plants nonstop is beyond brutal. That's not just a hard job, it's a backbreaking one. The man isn't getting any younger, and this kind of nonstop, relentless grind was seriously taking its toll. He made it clear he hated doing things in a rush just to get a few more ounces out of the ground. He gave it his absolute all. But at some point, even the toughest guys in the world have to admit when enough is finally enough.
I hate it when we're having to, do things that we don't want to do in a way that we don't want to do them because, we're in a rush to get ounces out of the ground. I hate that.
If you've followed Gold Rush for a while, you know Chris isn't the type of guy to complain. But this season, he really didn't have a choice. His body was sending him signals he couldn't ignore. It was either speak up or completely break down. And no amount of experience could change the simple fact that he was drowning in a sea of work. Something had to change, and it had to change fast. The crew was stretched incredibly thin, and Parker wasn't about to pull anyone off a running machine to help out in the gold room. That left Chris stuck between a rock and a hard place. Then a new name was thrown into the mix, Tatiana Costa. She's one of the top rock truck operators on the entire team, but not exactly someone you'd expect to see handling the final gold cleanup. It was a move of desperation when Chris threw her name out there as a possible backup, and Parker had to make a really tough call. Mitch and Tyson were not going to be thrilled about losing a key operator from their crew, but it was either that or watch Chris walk away for good. In the end, Parker had to agree. Tatiana was going to get trained up, And at long last, there was some extra help.
This is my first season mining. This is all very new for me, so learning the machines, learning how to operate them. Every day is a learning day.
But the real question remained. Was it all too little, too late? Even with extra hands helping in the gold room, the crushing pressure wasn't just going to disappear. Parker's hunger for more gold wasn't slowing down for a second. And as the season pushed forward, the cracks were really starting to show. That's when a weigh-in of 289.5 ounces was met with a weak chest bump, a hollow victory in a losing war. The laughter in the room felt forced. The smiles didn't reach their eyes. Everyone knew this pace couldn't last. This veteran miner had been with Parker's crew since the 4th season, and over all those years, he'd become one of the most valuable team members they had. But every man has his limits, and this season was testing his in ways no one ever expected. What most people don't know is that his journey to this breaking point started from a place no one would have ever guessed. Chris Dumitt's path to Gold Rush wasn't exactly planned out. Truth be told, he started out as a simple carpenter, building cabins for Todd Hoffman's original crew. He was just a guy with a hammer and some nails, hired for a specific job. The Hoffman crew was a different world, full of big dreams but often short on practical execution. It was more chaotic, a group held together by faith and family ties rather than the cold, hard efficiency Parker would later demand. Chris saw it all, the struggles, the arguments, the near failures. And in that chaos, he found an unexpected calling.
And I remember I was still on the phone and I said, Sharon, Parker wants to know, and she was gone, and a couple minutes later, she had my bags.
One thing led to another, and before he even knew what was happening, he was knee-deep in the world of gold mining. And it turns out he was good at it, like really good. He had a meticulous nature and a calm demeanor that was sorely needed. When he finally made the switch over to Parker's team in Season 4, everything changed in a big way. His incredible skills in the gold room helped Parker hit record-breaking gold totals year after year, but even the best of the best can only take so much. Now, with the workload pushing him far past his limit, the question isn't just whether he can keep up, it's whether he even wants to anymore. For the fans who have watched for years, the idea of Gold Rush without this hardworking veteran is hard to even picture. He's been there through all the ups and the downs, keeping things running smoothly, even when total chaos took over the operation. But this season, well, this season feels different. The pressure, the exhaustion, the sheer unbelievable amount of work, it's all piling up. And for the very first time, it looks like he might be done for good. Gold mining is a tough business, let's be real. It takes grit, it takes patience, and it takes a whole lot of endurance. But at some point, you have to stand back and ask yourself if it's all worth it. Chris has spent years of his life making sure the operation runs like clockwork, but if the cost of that is his own health and his well-being, maybe it's finally time to walk away. As the season rolls on, that's the one question hanging over everything. And if he does decide to leave, what does that possibly mean for the rest of the crew?
Well, this year I retired. You know, I threw in with these guys, help them become successful gold miners. Look in front of you, you know. So it's time to step aside and let a younger guy get in that could use a job.
You see, Chris's impact goes way beyond just digging up dirt. He's the guy making sure every last speck of gold is accounted for, the one who smooths things over when Parker's demands push the team to the absolute edge. He is one of the few constants in this chaotic, gold-chasing empire. More than that, he is the crew's glue. Imagine a scenario. Two young miners are at each other's throats over a costly mistake, and the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Parker might yell, but it would be Chris who would pull them aside, crack a dry joke, and remind them they're all on the same team. That quiet leadership is priceless. His relationship with Parker is complex. It's more than just a boss and an employee. Over the years, Chris became a trusted advisor, one of the few people Parker would actually listen to. He was a voice of experience that could temper Parker's youthful fire. This deep bond makes the current conflict all the more tragic. It's not just a worker quitting, it's a partnership fracturing under immense strain. In a game where every single ounce matters, Chris is the one making sure the team gets the most out of every single run. But Chris isn't just about numbers and gold pans. He's the heart of the operation. Non-stop mining is exhausting. You're talking about long hours, brutal weather, and constant equipment failures that make every single day a battle. He's the guy everyone turns to when the pressure gets to be too much, the one who helps keep the team from completely falling apart. Over the years, he's proven that he's not just another worker, he's an essential part of why this whole operation stays afloat. But even the strongest foundations can crumble under enough weight. And a storm was brewing that threatened to wash away everything he had built. The young king's gamble. Parker Schnabel never took the easy road, but his story didn't start with instant success. It began with a kid who simply refused to give up, no matter what anyone else said. You see, Parker didn't just stumble into gold mining, he was practically born into it. Born in late July in the mid-90s in the small town of Haines, Alaska, he grew up surrounded by dirt, heavy machinery, and the never-ending hunt for gold. His grandfather, the legendary John Schnabel, ran the Big Nugget mine. While other kids were playing with toy trucks, Parker was watching the real thing in action. By the time he was barely old enough to tie his own shoes, he was already learning how to operate equipment that most grown adults would struggle with. Fast forward a few years, and he was juggling high school and mining like it was nothing. He even shot hoops on the basketball team. But let's be real, his heart was always with the mine. College? Sure, it was an option. He even thought about studying geology or mining engineering. But in the end, books and classrooms didn't stand a chance against the call of the goldfields. Instead of wasting years in lectures, he put his college savings where his ambition was, right into his very own mining operation. That single decision was life-changing. By the time he was just 16 years old, he took over running the Big Nugget mine. Just imagine that for a second. A teenager telling grown men twice his age how to do their jobs. The old-timers in the Yukon whispered about the kid playing miner, expecting him to fail within a season. But he wasn't just bossing people around.
You can fight tooth and nail to be more productive, or you can go out and find ground that's twice as good.
He knew exactly what he was doing. Mining isn't just digging holes and hoping for the best. It's a grind, a calculated risk, and a constant battle against nature itself. He proved he had the guts, the brains, and the work ethic to pull it all off. Then came the big break, reality TV. In the early 2010s, Discovery Channel rolled out Gold Rush. He and his family were right in the mix, and soon enough, viewers were totally hooked on watching this teenage miner defy all expectations. But just being part of the show wasn't enough for him. In his late teens, he made a move that left jaws on the floor. He walked away from his family's mine, set his sights on the Yukon, and went all in on his own operation. It was a wild gamble, but playing it safe was never his style. He leased a piece of land that many old-timers considered cursed, a remote stretch known for its permafrost paradox.
Just over halfway through the season, and it's been an uphill battle. There's a lot going on. You know, it's definitely a lot busier than we've ever been, and bigger projects than we've ever taken on right now.
You see, the frozen ground held the gold, but the constant freezing and thawing would snap steel parts and shift foundations overnight. Local First Nations legends spoke of the ground being unsettled, a place that resisted being tamed. The miners had to navigate ghost creeks, which were streams that would appear from the melting ice for a few days and then vanish, making water management a constant nightmare. This isolated claim was less a piece of property and more of a living, breathing monster. Yet Parker bought equipment, got to work, and it paid off. His story wasn't just about mining. It was about proving that age doesn't matter when you have the skills and the drive to succeed. He didn't just survive in the gold game, he dominated it. But life wasn't all golden glory. He faced his share of struggles, especially in his personal life. He had a relationship with an Australian veterinary nurse named Ashley, who even appeared on the show. The demands of the mine were relentless. 18-hour days, 7 days a week, living in a remote camp, it leaves no room for a normal life. The relationship couldn't withstand the pressure. He admitted he wasn't good at balancing work and life. For Parker, mining always came first. Was Parker's relentless ambition to blame for pushing his most loyal man to the breaking point? Let us know what you think below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more.